Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai. Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yedi nefesh al harachaman mishoch avdecha. Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai.
Shabbat shalom, Cantor Shochetand. How are you?
I'm good. I see something is amiss.
Yes. You know what? Being a rabbi is a rough business. People don't necessarily understand that, and you should see the other rabbi. I should say that. But also, this is a line of duty injury.
Rolling the Torah.
Yes, rolling the Torah. Yes, exactly. But it actually happened here at Temple Road of Shalom. We were preparing a dinner together, our senior staff, on a retreat day that we had this week. And I was cutting the sweet potatoes and probably talking and not paying attention. And so here we are, but I'm doing very well.
If you have a problem, my brother's physicians in the room tonight, in the house tonight, right? Oh, we got lots of doctors tonight.
Lots of doctors in the house. Okay. So welcome everybody, Shabbat Shalom. We're so delighted that you're here to welcome Shabbat with us. And to also celebrate the fact that tomorrow we have 3 wonderful young women of our congregation who are going to be called to the Torah. Mia Mortman, Sarah Trainer, and Avery Crowitz. I said it correctly. And we're so delighted that they're going to be helping us to lead services this evening. We're also joined on the bima by Barbara Moss, one of our board members. And we wanted to invite all of you to join us in song, in prayer. We thank you for wearing your masks during the service and for having them up over your nose and your mouth. That really helps keep all of us safe. And also wanted to invite everybody to turn off their cell phones or anything that makes noise. And finally, I wanted to welcome a group from the women of Temple Road of Shalom, Meet, Pray, and Nosh, and there they are. This is something we started before the pandemic, where people would meet together before the service. We used to have a Nosh during the old days. I'm sure that will come back before the service, right, again. And this is your first in-person gathering, right, since the pandemic. So welcome, and I know there are other members of Woders who are watching us on the stream.
So we're going to sing because we love to sing here, and I decided to let's sing something that maybe is most familiar to all of us. Shalom Aleichem. It's in your prayer books. If you're in the first row, it's under your seat. Everyone else, it's in front of you. Mishkan Tefillah, page 24. Page 24. At home, if you're following along on our streaming, the prayer book it can be found through an icon there, a PDF prayer book, page 24. You just have to type in the numbers at the bottom of the screen and join along with us at home. We will hear you, won't we?
We will.
We'll hear them at home. It's two-way.
It is.
Frank, let's join together as we sing Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And normally this would be a time where we would invite you to greet somebody across the room and to walk over and do that, and we can't really do that now. But maybe you recognize somebody from across the room, or you think you do, even with their mask, so you could wave, right?
Wave, smile behind your mask.
There we go. Oh, that's wonderful. I like that. I like that. So we continue our Shabbat service with the kindling of the Shabbat lights, and I would like to invite the moms of our Benot Mitzvah, Beth, Nancy, and Blake, to join us on the bima to kindle the Shabbat lights.
We were on page 2 and 3 in our prayer books.
Oh.
Here's one.
Who's reading first? If you can when you're reading.
Glasses on, mask off.
You can stand.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
I'll take one of the mics, and you can each light one candle, and somebody gets to light 2 candles.
Thank you. Is there right to left, left to right?
Not Hanukkah, anytime, any way you want to go.
But even on Hanukkah, Rabbi Hillel said one thing, and
That's true.
My great aunt always used to yell at us for letting
Ah, there you go. Well done. Could also start it in the middle.
I wanted to, but then I was afraid.
I'll be contrary.
Yeah,
Okay, there we
you're
go.
You're not going to let me light a second one.
two.
Would you like me to do two?
I don't care. I was just thinking for symmetry.
Oh, well, then it's fine.
Well done.
Let's join together in the blessing on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you all very much. And now we'll continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of Shabbat, with 2 psalms tonight, or 1 psalm and 1 poem. Zamru Ladonai, page 16 in your prayer book, page 16. Zamru Ladonai comes from Psalm 98. It means sing praises to God with all the different instruments. And so this melody by Noah Aronson. Zamru Ladonai, Zamru Ladonai bechinor, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai. Adonai bechinor v'chol zimra b'chatzorot v'kol shofar hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yalalai, yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yiram hayam umlo tevel veyoshveva neharot imcha uchaf yachad harim yeraneinu yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. The most important part of Kabbalat Shabbat is the welcoming of the Sabbath bride, which comes in Lecha Dodi, as you know. It's on page 20 in your prayer book, page 20 and 21, actually. And tonight we'll sing verses 1, 2, and 9, 1, 2, and 9. And if you're so moved, if you want to follow the tradition, when we get to verse 9, if you wish to stand to face the entrance of the sanctuary in symbolically greeting the Sabbath bride, bowing at those words, Boi v'shalom and Boi chala, and then we'll join in Lecha Dodi together. So all three verses, verses 1, 2, and 9, page 20 and 21. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem ultiferet ve'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha zov maaseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 9. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'b'tzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat
We are going to continue on page 28 with the call to worship, the Baruch Hu, and I'm going to invite you to rise if you are able to and comfortable in so doing to join us in Baruch Hu, page 28. Please rise.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch hu et Adonai, Amen. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai.
Please join me in the English on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And on page 33, in the middle of the page, please join me. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Please join us in V'ahavta on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiot lachem
Ani
Adonai Elohechem. Please join me responsively in the middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and in peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi Chamocha, page 40.
Mi Chamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora, Tehilot, Osei, Velech, Nora, Tehilot, Osei, Velech, Malchutcha Ra'uvanecha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed. Yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Please join me on the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We continue on page 44 with V'shamru.
לדורותם ברית עולם. turn now to the second major part of our service, the tefillah, page 46. I invite you, if you're comfortable, to rise as we join together in chanting the first few pages together, page 46. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Rab Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Nochlim Ve'Rofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishene Afar, Micha Mocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman nata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Page 52. Atah kadosh v'shimcha hakadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom, yehalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. On the next page, page 53, is this beautiful poem which I'm going to sing in Hebrew for you. Page 53, you can follow along in the English. Where might I go to find you? Ya ana emtsa'acha. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Ya ana emsacha mekomcha na'ala v'ne'elam, ve'ana lo emsacha kevodcha malei olam. Yana emsacha mekomcha na'ala v'ne'elam, va'ana lo emsacha kevodcha malei olam. Darashti kirvatcha bechol libi keraticha, uvetzeti likratcha, likrati metzaticha. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, Yana emsacha mekomcha na'ala v'ne'elam Yana lo emsacha kevodcha malei olam. Let's turn now to our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, page 60, as we join together. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Etov be'einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol et ubechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav O Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav O Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam, Tasim leolam, Tasim leolam. So we've just prayed for peace for our world, for our communities, for Israel. Let's take a moment now to find peace in our own hearts as we pray silently. Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל. Page 253, as we turn in our prayer books to our prayers for healing, thinking about all those people who we want to offer blessings for their well-being. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hacholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimalei rachamim alechem lechacha limam ulrapotam ulechacha zikam v'yishlach lahem mehira refuah shlema min hashamayim refuat hanefesh refuat haguf hashta ba'agala v'zman kariv v'nomar amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill, including Ann Bennett, Alon ben Barbara, Esther bat Hannah, Hannah Esther bat Crandall, Hannah Leah bat Yosef v'Hendel, Shmuel Yoel ben Shaul, Sima Pearl Leah bat Chaya, Yehuda ben Fishel, Henry Botak, Maria Campo, Benifer Devar, Elizabeth Drabkin, Ellen Gallant, Heather Glick, Sarah Heppenstall, Evan Katzman, Lisa Katzman, Martha Kelly, Dorothy Mikolashchik, Rhoda Moses, Stan Richter, Monty Skull, Angie Slonim, Franny Wolfson, Irene Silver, and all those who are victims of violence in Israel, here in this country, around the world, as well as those who are suffering from COVID, as well as those, in addition, who are in service to our country, who need emotional, physical, and spiritual healing. If you would like to say the name of someone you are thinking about for their well-being tonight, please do so as I go around the congregation. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit as together we say, Amen. And we sing the second verse of Misha Berach on page 253. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. So this week's Torah portion, very dramatic, Parashat Noach, and we tend to focus on the flood, right? But we often don't talk quite as much about the Tower of Babel, although I know you're going to hear some about it tomorrow morning, right? And it's a very short narrative. You know, you think this big tower, right? But it's really only 9 verses in this Torah portion. And not only that, but it's stuck near almost the very end. So it's not that we really want to overlook it, but we've had a lot of drama already, right? So what do we need with this? Well, I think there's some interesting Torah here that I'd like to share with you. So first of all, a recap of this short little piece of text. Everyone on earth has the same language, and they congregate in one place, and they decide that they're going to build a city with a tower that reaches to the sky so that they can make a name for themselves and not be scattered over all of the earth. God is not happy about this, the fact that they have one language, and God says, you know, this is just the beginning of their doings. No scheme of theirs will be beyond their reach. So God confuses their speech. Babel is what that means in Hebrew, so that no one can understand the other, and they stop building the city. The people are then scattered over the face of the earth. So I have some questions I always have about this narrative, and perhaps you do as well. What exactly did the people do wrong? Possible theories. Perhaps by building this tower that stretched to the sky, they were trying to enter the realm of God. That's one theory. The mere act of building a city and a tower, what could be wrong with that? And how about the desire to create a name for themselves? And the thing that has always bothered me about this narrative is that if the people lived in such harmony, what is wrong with that? Shouldn't God be happy about this? What's so bad about human unity? If a key part of God's primordial blessing and charge earlier in Genesis was for humans to spread out and to fill the earth, how can God's scattering of the people be a punishment? So what's going on here? There are a few clues that we can find in the language. There is a repetition of certain specific words and phrases in Hebrew that emphasize the human drive not to be divided. Kol haaretz, all the earth, is repeated 5 times. The word for city, ir, is repeated 3 times. Safa, language, is repeated 5 times, just in these 9 verses. And the word echad or achat, meaning one, is repeated 4 times. So a 19th century Lithuanian Torah commentator, Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, says that it was less the unity of the people than the uniformity of the people that bothered God. He uses the phrase that's used to describe one language, Devarim Achadim, and he sees that as ideological consensus. For him, for this Torah commentary, as well as for Rashi, the medieval Torah commentary, this was the source of the people's crime. What they wanted was an oppressively monolithic society. And this would have been a society, this commentator says, in which individuals were devalued. And he cites a midrash with which some of you may be familiar to prove this point. In the midrash, a laborer building the Tower of Babel would climb the steps with bricks in his hand. And if one laborer were to lose his footing and fall to his death, the bricks, of course, would be shattered. The other workers would sink into deep mourning, not for an expendable human life, but for the bricks. They would say, "Woe to us, when will we have another brick to replace it?" The lack of concern about individuals in the story of the Tower of Babel can be seen in the absence of names. Prior to and immediately after these 9 verses, we get lists of names, the likes of which you don't want to have in your Torah portion for your bar or bat mitzvah, because all it is are names, and you go, what am I going to do with this, right? So I'm going to show you. You can do this. before the story of Babel, we get this list of Noah's sons, then we get the story of Babel, and afterwards we get the generations that come from Noah's son Shem, which, by the way, P.S. also means name in Hebrew, all the way to Abraham. But in the entire story of Babel, you can go back and read it, there isn't one name, not one. So what are the consequences of uniformity? Certainly a lack of individuality, anonymity, and the words and the same words, having the same words, the same thoughts, lead to a society in which there's no room for individual tastes or thoughts or creativity. A wonderful teacher of Torah in Israel, Judy Klissner, says that the story of Babel describes a human tendency towards conformity. It concludes that taken to extreme lengths, such behavior leads us away from God and towards permanent anonymity. We are created in the image of God, the Torah tells us, and our uniqueness is part of what God treasures about us. The genealogy after the story of the Tower of Babel, as I mentioned, ends with Abraham. And Abraham, who's called Abraham Avram HaIvri, is the very definition of other. Ivri means one from beyond, from the other side. And in fact, God makes Abraham's name great because Abraham is willing to break away from conventional ways of thinking and doing. Judy Klissner says, in order to fulfill God's intentions for humanity, each godlike person must develop as a unique individual, even if individuality will occasionally lead the human being away from God. An individual, even a rebellious one, is more godly than a mindless member of a human herd. We are a stiff-necked people, we know, and would God really want it any other way? I don't think so. In an essay in this week's New York Times that some of you may have seen called What Happens When the Last Jew Leaves Afghanistan, Dara Horn talks about societies in which there is little or no diversity, where uniformity is valued over the individual. And of course, this is the case in countless countries and societies where Jews once lived in great numbers. She says, it's apparently in poor taste to point out why people like Mr. Simantov, who was the last Jew in Afghanistan, wind up as last Jews to begin with. People decided that they no longer wanted to live with those who weren't exactly like themselves. Nostalgic stories about last Jews mask a much larger and darker reality about societies that were once ethnic and religious mosaics, but are now home to almost no one but Arab Muslims, Lithuanian Catholics, or Han Chinese. It costs little to wax nostalgic about departed Jews when one lives in a place where diversity, rather than being a living human challenge, is a fairy tale from the past. There is only one way to be, she writes. What does it mean for a society to rid itself of other points of view, to reject those with different perspectives and histories and different ways of being in the world? The lesson of the Tower of Babel, for me, this Shabbat, rests in the words of the Mishnah. And it's a wonderful midrash about God's creation of human beings. For man stamps out many coins with one die, and they are all alike. But the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, stamped each man with the seal of Adam, and not one of them is like his fellow. Yes, the cacophony of voices and opinions is messy and loud, but would God and we want it any other way? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to continue with our closing prayers.
We're going to turn in our prayer books to page 282 and invite our Benot Mitzvah. We have Sarah and Mia and Avery to lead us in Aleinu and invite their dads to come up. We have John and Howard and Jay come forward to open the ark for us, and everyone please rise. Page 282. You may be seated.
Page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love to each of us for the peace we bring to others.
May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt the despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Page 289. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. As we think of those people who have recently been taken from us, our hearts and prayers go out to all of you here who are in this first period of mourning. If you're comfortable rising when we say the name of someone that you're remembering, please do so that we know who among us are our mourners. And first we begin with those people in this first 30 days of mourning, the Shloshim period. We remember Eve John Jones, the mother of Sarah John, B. Daniel, longtime beloved Temple Road of Shalom member, Louis Landsberg, father of Allison Landsberg, Sandra Spector, the wife of Robert Spector, Neville Sender, the father of Marjorie Alloy, Harvey Brooks, the brother of Eileen Banker. And to their names we link those that we remember on this, the anniversary or yahrzeit of their beloved. We remember Matthew Amberg, Jacqueline Antoni, Peter Berenbaum, Helen Bluford, Rachel Brovman, Saul Brooks, Daniel Cohen, Hyman Cohen, David Constein, Abraham Daniel, Joel Eisenberg, Lawrence Fox, Gerald Freibert, Shirley Freed, Renee Friedman, Alan Frotman, Yetta Hecker, Nina Herlick, Alec Harwitz, Ada Jacobs, Lydia Jakozinski, Myra Kahn, Annabelle Katz, Nancy Kaufman, Benjamin Kessel, Gloria Liederman, Lorraine Lindenbaum, Sidney Lowitz, Michael Lubin, John Mandanis, David Maiman, Frank Mazer, Maita Milner, Laurent Murawick, Lynn Myers, another Lynn Myers, Leon Obermeyer, Sarah Palton, Gloria Peters, Molly Rappaport, Leo Roshkow, Mort Roney, Alma Rosenbaum, Erwin Rosenberg, Edna Rubin, Harry Sandler, Herman Schaefer, George Schiller, Jonathan Schwartz, Belle Shemashkin, Murray Silverman, Joseph Sinsheimer, Pearl Slayton, Charles Smith, Richard Sobel, Raymond Springberg. And if you would like to say the name of someone that you are thinking about and remembering them on either their yahrzeit, Shloshim, or you're in the first year of mourning, Please do so as I go around the congregation. And now we rise and stand alongside our mourners, bringing them love and comfort and peace as we turn to page 294, saying together the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divarach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chaye chon v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Ulalmei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitale V'yitalal Shmei Dekudusha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tush B'chata V'nechemata Da'amiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved here and everywhere, and let us together say, amen. You may be seated. And now we invite Barbara Moss, at-large member of our board, to come bring us some Shabbat greetings. And while you're on your way up, I'll say thank you to your husband, Rob, who is in the control room streaming tonight, and to Graham Marsh, who's helping out with audio, and Frank Conlon, of course.
So I guess I shouldn't say that in my...
Oh, I'm sure they'd love another thank you.
I was going to thank Rob for doing his job at streaming. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you, Cantor, Shochetand, and Rabbi Bernstein. And Shabbat to everyone who is here. I am honored to welcome you on behalf of our congregation to our worship service tonight. To those of you who have joined us virtually and those in person, it is so nice to see all of you and to be together. Mazel tov to all the families that are here tonight for the B'nai Mitzvahs. Also, please check out the e-letter that went out yesterday and the latest edition of The Connection, which is also available on our website. For more announcements of upcoming events here at the temple, I would like to bring to your attention a few events that are being held over this coming month. Also, along with that, I think some of the announcements are in the back. I am going to just give a little brief information on all of these that I'm talking about tonight, because the rest you can find also through the website. First, Women of TRS Fall Membership Event is this Sunday at 10:30. Dietra Reiser, a school psychologist and educator, will discuss ways in which synagogues need to be intentional about creating welcoming spaces for Jews of color. Food for thought, intersections in Israeli and Palestinian literature and film. That will be this Wednesday, October 13th at 10 a.m. On Friday, October 15th at 6:30 is Freedom Fridays. Under the TRS tent outside, kits will be made for those who struggle with homelessness. TRS will also coordinate a dinner order from Lazy Mike's. Please come welcome Shabbat, enjoy a casual dinner, and make our corner of the world a little better. And lastly, join TRS Symposium, the Israeli-Palestinian Dilemma, moving beyond who's right and who's wrong, on Sundays, October 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. For this, please check the website for more in-depth information. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Babs. I was just told that the list that I was reading from on the Kaddish list and the list that was in the program are different.
Oh, my goodness.
And so
Wow.
I apologize to the families of Milton Stein, John Stillman, Ellen Swanson, Erwin Tribitz, Herb Wax, and Joseph Weinstein, as they are also remembered tonight for Yahrzeit.
Oh, well, thank
So-
you to whoever brought that to our attention.
Yes, that was Graham. Thank
Graham,
you very much.
thank you, Graham. Thank you.
And apologize to everyone. The Kiddush is next, and we bring back our Benot Mitzvah, Mia and Sarah and Avery, to join us up here to hold the Kiddush cup high. One for each of you. You can take your mask off if you want to, unless you don't want to. It's up to you. Just don't drink with your mask on.
Good idea. That would be a good idea.
You. And we rise and we turn to page 5 in your prayer book. Rabbi Bernstein, this is my final Shabbat for 2 months.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, not my final Shabbat, but my final
Well, you're going to
time on the
scare
bima.
people, Cantor, Shochetand.
My final time on
Why
the
don't you
bima
tell
for
the
2
people
months.
where you're going to be? You're not
We're
leaving.
I'm not leaving.
You're-
I'm on
no.
sabbatical for 2 months, the final 2 months of my sabbatical. I'm very
Aw.
grateful to our congregation that really preaches clergy wellness. So
Except
we go.
for,
this side of the
This
bima,
side
we're
of the
dealing with clergy wellness. Can't speak on that side of the
Yeah,
bima.
what are you gonna do?
We're going to close our service with the singing of Olam Chesed Yibaneh, which is in your program. It's the beautiful song that reminds us it's up to all of us to build a world of love, and which kind of dovetails on what you wrote, that it's all about diversity, but we have to work together.
Absolutely.
To work together to build a world, which is part of the idea from the first part of Noah, that God destroyed the world. So it's
Yep.
up to us to build it back.
Very nice.
So we'll
Thank
do it with love, with the big, diverse group of people on this planet that we are.
Thank you.
Let's sing together. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Dai, Dai, Yadadai, Dai. 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 I will build this world from love. Da-da-dai, dai, dai, yada-dai, dai. And you must build this world from love. from love. Da-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai. Then God will build this world from love. Da-da-dai, dai-dai, ya-da-dai-dai.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, may God give us strength. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, and may God always bless us with peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.